Hi everyone. In this lecture, we are going to discuss X-ray and crystal structure, that is a Bragg's equation and the Bragg's method. So friends, all of you know that there are various methods for the study of the crystal structure, such as Lowe method, Bragg's method, powder method and rotating crystal method. In the last lecture, already we have discussed the Lowe method, and in this lecture we are going to discuss the Bragg's method. So first of all, we are going to derive the Bragg's equation, that is a n lambda is equal to 2d sin theta. Then we are going to discuss the Bragg's method, that is a Bragg spectrometer. So here the Bragg's method of the crystal analysis. So here what is the principle of the Bragg's law or the Bragg's method? Here a crystal is composed of series of equally spaced atomic planes. Thus, it may be employed or it may be used not only as the transmission grating. So, all of you know that in the Lowe's method, the crystal it may be considered as a transmission grating, and here in the Bragg's method, it may be considered as a transmission grating as well as the reflecting grating. So, here a beam of monochromatic X-ray striking the atomic planes will undergo interference or the reinforcement, and here W.H. Bragg and W.L. Bragg develop a very useful and simple relation between wavelength of the X-ray and the spacing d between the lattice planes under the condition for the reinforcement of the reflected beam, and that equation it is called as the Bragg's equation, that is the n lambda is equal to 2d sin theta. First of all, here we are going to derive the Bragg's equation. So for that purpose, so let us consider the here the diagram. So this is the X-ray reflection from the equidistant and parallel planes. So this is the diagram. So here consider a parallel beam of the monochromatic X-ray. So this P and L, these are the two parallel beam of the monochromatic X-rays. Then here this AA dash, while the BB dash and here the CC dash, these are the equidistant lattice planes, and here a parallel beam of the monochromatic X-rays incident on the set of the parallel and the equidistant lattice planes, that is the AA dash and here the BB dash and the CC dash in the crystal structure. And here what is the important D? So here this D be the distance between the successive planes, while this theta be the glancing angle. So here the D and theta, these are the two important terms in the Bragg's equation. So here the D is the distance between the successive planes. So this is the plane AA dash and BB dash. So distance between these two planes, it is the D, while the plane BB dash and the CC dash, again here the distance is the D, while theta is the glancing angle. Now consider an incident ray LM. So this is the incident ray, that is the first ray, that is a LM. So here the consider an incident ray LM which reflect at M along the MN. So this is the first ray. On the other hand, the ray PQ. So this is the ray PQ. So ray PQ, it penetrate the crystal. So here this ray PQ, it penetrate in the crystal and reflect along QN. So here the second ray, that is the PQ, it penetrate in the crystal and here it reflect along the QN by the atoms in the BB plane. Similar reflections occurred at the other plane. So here if the path LMN, so here in the diagram the path LMN, it differ from the path PQN by a whole number of wavelength. Then the two beams from L and P, so this is the L and P. So here these two beams from the L and P will reinforce one another after reflection. So here after reflection they reinforce with each other. So here they reinforce will one another after reflection, and a strong, here the strong diffracted beam will be result. So here the condition for the reinforcement is found in the following manner. So here just to find out the condition for the reinforcement, here first of all we have to draw the MR perpendicular to the reflecting plane. So here this MR it is a draw first. So here draw MR perpendicular to the reflecting plane, and similar way draw MS. So this is MS perpendicular to the QR. So here just to find out the condition for the reinforcement of the two beam, then here these two rays they are reinforced, then the path difference must be equal to n lambda. So here these two rays, that is the rays LM and rays PQ, so at point M they reinforce. So here if these two rays are reinforced, then the path difference it is equal to n lambda. Now the first ray travel the distance, this is the first ray, it travel the distance LM plus Mn. So here the distance traveled by the first ray. Then here in the second ray, that this is the second ray, it travel the distance PQ plus QM plus Mn. So here in this way both the rays reach to the point N. So here in this way both the rays they reach up to the point N. Then path difference of the first and second ray is calculated as follows. So here first of all we have to find out the path difference. So here the first ray LM as well as the second ray PQ, finally both the rays reach at the N, and here their path difference it can be find out by using the following method. So let us find out the path difference. So here the path difference is equal to, that is a PQ plus QM plus Mn. So this is the path of the second ray, then minus LM minus in bracket LM plus Mn, this is the path of the first ray. So here the path of the second ray minus path of the first ray, this is the path difference. So this can be written as PQ plus QM plus Mn minus LM minus Mn. So here this plus Mn and the minus Mn are cancelled. So here we can write PQ plus QM minus LM. So here this PQ, so this PQ plus QR minus LM. So here in the diagram QM is equal to QR. So QM is equal to QR. So here in this diagram this QM is equal to QR. That means these two distances are same. That's why here in the diagram QM is equal to MR. So QM is equal to QR. So here this QM is equal to QR. These are the same distances. So that's why here QM is equal to QR. So here the equation can be written as PQ plus, that is a QS plus SR minus LM. So this is the QR. So QR is equal to QS plus SR. So let us consider the QR. So QR is equal to QS plus SR. That's why here the QR is equal to QS plus SR. So here this equation can be written as PQ plus QS plus SR minus LM. Then this can be written as PQ plus QS plus SR minus LM. Then here this PQ plus QS, that is a PS. So PQ plus QS, that is a PS, plus SR, this is a plus SR minus LM. Then here in the diagram this PS is equal to LM. That's why here this equation can be written as LM plus SR minus LM. So the geometry of the figure, from the geometry of the figure, this PS is equal to LM. So here the LM plus SR minus LM, this minus LM and the plus LM will be cancelled, and here finally we get the path difference is equal to SR. So the path difference between the two rays it is equal to SR. The geometry of the figure indicate that the angle SMR is the same as the glancing angle theta. So angle SMR. So here this SMR, so here it is the same as the glancing angle theta as per geometry of the diagram. Now consider the right angle triangle, that is a MSR. So here let us consider the right angle angle MSR. So this is the right angle angle. So consider the right angle angle in the diagram, that is a MSR, where this SR is equal to MR sine of angle SMR is equal to MR, and here the angle SMR, it is equal to theta. That is why here this MR into sin theta. So here this MR is equal to 2D. So in this diagram, this MR is equal to 2D. So here this equation can be written as, that is a 2D sin theta, since MR is equal to D plus D, that is equal to 2D. So here the path difference SR is equal to 2D sin theta. But the condition for the reinforcements is that the path difference must be equal to n lambda, where n is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on, and the lambda is the wavelength of the X-ray. So here this SR is equal to n lambda. So this equation can be written as, that is the n lambda is equal to 2D sin theta is the condition for obtaining the strong beam by the diffraction of the X-ray. And here friends, this equation, it is known as the Bragg's equation, and here it is the n lambda is equal to 2D sin theta. What is the theta? Here the theta is the glancing angle, that is the D is the distance between the two atomic planes, lambda is the wavelength, and n is the order of reflection. So here when we consider the first order reflection, that at that time n is equal to 1. When we consider the second order reflection, n is equal to 2 and so on. So here this is the Bragg's equation, n lambda is equal to 2D sin theta. Then the next point is the Bragg's method. So here this is the Bragg X-ray spectrometer. So here the Bragg equation is employed, or the Bragg's equation, that is a 2D sin theta is equal to n lambda. It is used to calculate the magnitude of the D. In the equation, all of you know that theta is the glancing angle at which the maximum reflection intensity is achieved. So here the reflection angle theta, that is the glancing angle theta, and the intensities of the reflected beams corresponding to these angles is determined with the help of the Bragg's X-ray spectrometer, which is shown in the figure. So what is the use of the Bragg's X-ray spectrometer? So with the help of the Bragg's X-ray spectrometer, here the glancing angle theta, so here it can be determined with the help of the Bragg's X-ray spectrometer. So let us consider the diagram. In this diagram, this is A is the X-ray tube, while this E is the crystal, then this is the C is the slit, while this D is the screen. Then here F is the rotating table, or it is a turnable table, and here the G is the detector, and here the H is the electrometer. So friends, once again let us consider the diagram. So here in this diagram, A is the X-ray tube, while this E is the crystal, C is the slit, while the D is the screen. Then F is the rotating table or the turnable table, G is the detector, and here the H is the electrometer. So here what is important, here this E is the crystal. So here this is the Bragg's X-ray spectrometer. So the Bragg's equation is used to calculate the magnitude of the D, and here all of you know that in the Bragg's equation, theta is the glancing angle. So here a beam of the X-ray of definite wavelength is generated with the help of the X-ray tube. So here with the help of this X-ray tube, here the X-rays are generated. So here the X-rays are passes through a series of slits. So these X-rays, they are passes through a series of the slits and screen, such as the C and the D, to give a sharp and monochromatic beam. So here generally here the X-rays are generated in the tube A, and here these X-rays, when they are passes through the slit and the screen, here finally we get the sharp and the monochromatic beam. The outcoming X-ray from the slits and the screen are directed to strike the face of the crystal E, which is mounted on the turnable table, that is a F. So here friends, the outcoming X-rays from the slits as well as from the screen, they are directed to strike the face of the crystal E, which is mounted on the turnable table F. A crystal is mounted at the center of rotating table in a such a way that a beam will strike the particular set of the plane. So here this beam will be strike a particular set of the plane of a crystal, for example say 100 plane. The rays after reflection, here the rays after reflection from the crystal passes through the another slit. So here this is another slit and are collected into the detector G. So here the rays after reflection from the crystal pass through the another slit and are collected into the detector G. Usually here this G is the detector, and generally here ionization chamber or the Geiger counter is used for the measurement. So the ionization chamber, it is filled with the easily ionizable gases like the sulfur trioxide or the methyl bromide. So here the in the ionization chamber, the gases like the sulfur trioxide or the methyl bromides are filled, and these are the easily ionizable gases. The response of the detector is realized with the help of the electrometer H. So here the response of the detector, it is realized with the help of the electrometer H. The response is proportional to the intensity of the entering X-ray. So here the response of this electrometer, it is proportional to the intensity of the entering X-ray. So here the starting with the small glancing angle theta between the incident X-ray and the crystal face, the value is increased in stages by rotating table F. So here angle at which maximum intensity is observed. So here the angle at which the maximum intensity is observed is the angle of maximum reflection. It is a theta, and here the angle theta is measured from the scale on the turnable table. So here the angle at which the maximum intensity is observed is angle of maximum reflection, and this angle of maximum reflection, it is measured with the help of the scale on the turnable table, that is the F. So here the apparatus is designed in such a way that the reflected rays always, these are the reflected rays. So these reflected rays always enter the detector G. So here the intensity of the reflected X-ray for various angles are determined, and here the glancing angle theta for which the strongest reflection are obtained are those which satisfy the Bragg's equation. So this is very important. The glancing angle theta for which the strongest reflections are obtained are those which satisfy the Bragg's equation. So here this procedure is repeated for the important planes of the crystal. So friends, this is about the Bragg's X-ray spectrometer. So with the help of the Bragg's X-ray spectrometer, that is the glancing angle theta can be measured. So here when we consider this method it has only one drawback, that is to obtain a relative large and traced crystal for the experiment, it is a laborious job or it is a very difficult job. This is a major drawback of this method. So friends, this is about the Bragg's equation and the Bragg's method.